Good evening and welcome to the Successful Salon Team Training Room. If you are tuning in on Facebook, welcome. If you are tuning in live on YouTube, welcome. And if you are catching this on the replay, welcome to you guys too. We have a great session today. We are on the last session of how to get our average bill to where we want it inside of our salon. So we've unpacked what an average bill was. I worked you through ground zero, how I took my average bill from £16.28 to £89. We've seen Mary Cromings in America talk about how she gets her average bill out and what they're doing out there in the States. And now we've got Natasha for you unpacking how she gets her average bill for her and her stylist inside of her salon to an enormous amount as well. So welcome, Natasha. How are you this evening?
Thank you. Yeah, probably like many others, knackered.
It's just one of them, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
we're all like...
Everyone sort of says, oh, thank God it's Friday. But for us, we're kind of like, oh, just tomorrow. Let tomorrow come. One more day.
One more day. We're nearly there. So good evening, everybody. Let us know you're here. I can currently see messages from Facebook and from YouTube. So just pop me a little hey, hello. Let me know that you're here and how you're doing. Are you tired too? We're like running on like, I don't know, battery power. We're like solo powered at the minute, aren't we? So I've got some notes actually that I made today, Natasha, for this interview, because I really want to really dive deep inside your brain and figure out, I mean, the voice notes that we've sent back and forth from each other, there was so much information inside of that. So I want to make sure that we really get that out, because the Successful Salon Team Training Room is the fact that I go out and find people that are doing the thing that we're coaching that week or that month successfully, and we unpack it for everyone else to learn. Hi, Jackie. How are you? I hope you're well. And hello, Sandy. Hi, everybody. So first of all, let's start from the beginning. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, I had a salon for probably about 4.5 years, and then my business partner and I split up, so I've now got a salon on my own. So we're still in the same location that we were in before, and I had it literally, it's a long story, but basically I got the salon back on February the 18th. We rebranded it and we got back open on the 3rd of March, and then we got locked down. So yeah, literally 3 weeks we were open, and then we locked down. So not the best, but in that time, like everybody, just kind of not a lot you could do about it, but we were kind of like, right, let's just focus on the positives, what we can do, and just work behind the scenes, like listening to you a lot, and just kind of going, right, what is it we can do? So that's what we did. Well, so yeah.
So it's quite disappointing, because you waited so long to get your other salon, and then it was like,
it was a bit like that. Yes, oh my God, it's so exciting, welcome everyone. Oh no, we've got it. And you know, I was a little bit naive in the beginning, because I kind of thought, oh, do you know what, end of April, May the latest, we'll be back up and running. You know, it will just give us a bit of breathing space, because we were literally running to get the salon back open. So yeah, I was a little bit naive, to be honest. I didn't think for 1 second it would be till July. But you know, and now it's fab. You know, it's kind of like starting again. So we kind of had like a little taster, and then we were kind of like, right, now we'll start. So fingers crossed we don't go into another lockdown, but yeah. And so we're good.
An enormous amount of time to really, really work on how you wanted that salon to be, rather than rushing it. You had that kind of 3 months to really unpack everything.
Yeah, and for owning a salon before, bearing in mind this one's just mine now, it gave me clarity to kind of go, right, what were we doing wrong before to what, you know, I want to change now. And it's kind of like, right, this is what's going to change. So we had like big team meeting before we went back for 2 days, and kind of going, this is what we are, this is what we're going to do. So it was kind of a good thing as well, in a way, to, you know, really get everything down right to the, you know, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and going, right, now it's a fresh, let's start anew. So it was good in a way for us as well. So yeah, you kind of have to turn that negative into a positive. So yeah, which meant that things like this, like our average bill, I could look back and see what they were, as a salon, because I still had all the database from before, and kind of going, right, you know, that wasn't good, that area is not good, and really going deep and kind of going, right, what can we change then to get that up?
Amazing. So let's take you back. What, first of all, made you focus on your average bill?
I think for me, it was just listening and learning from different teachers, and actually realizing how important the average bill is and how much that can change. I follow a guy called Richard, who says about the average bill of how, if you run your, like, from your break evens and stuff like that, if you change your average bill and just increase that by £5, how big a difference that is to your salon. So that's where I started really looking at it and kind of going, right, okay, that's what it was. This is where I want to be. How do we get it there? And how much impact and profit am I going to be left with at the end of the day if I do that? So that's how I started to really dive into and see how different it was going to be. And just from adding like £2 onto your average bill, the difference, if that's across your team, how different that can be to your, you know, to your break even, your net profit, it's incredible.
I pay what if and maybe a lot. So I get my break even out, and then I put dummy numbers into what we're actually taking, just to see how that increases the profit margins, how many clients then I need to service, and just really play with it, because then that gives me absolute certainty and clarity as to where I need to be as a salon and where I'm going and what I'm striving and achieving for. It's not just me playing, just chucking a dart at the board and seeing where it lands.
No.
I know exactly when I get to this point, this is the profit that's coming in my salon. Right, next, when I get to this point, this is then the profit that's coming in my salon. So it's a really good way, just playing with your break even.
Yeah, and it's quite good. It's quite good as well to share it with your team. So if there's something that, you know, you want as a salon, or you want all together, or that they're striving to buy something, you know, personally, you know, it's interesting to see that and kind of going, oh my God, if I just add £2, how much more, you know, especially if your staff are on commission, how much more they can make, and how easy just the little bits that you put in of just adding those extra on to bills and stuff, and how much that can increase. So it's quite insightful. I was quite amazed when I shared it with the team, of kind of with them going, really? Wow, like, didn't realize that was going to increase that much across the board by just adding a small amount to the average bill. So it's getting your team to understand how your average bill works as well.
Absolutely. Because our team just see cash in the till. Or actually, I'm not seeing any cash in the till right now, are they? There is nothing. Like, robbers they're like bankrupt at the minute. They can't rob anywhere because nobody's got any cash.
No one's got any cash.
But the team see the money coming in, and they think that that's all ours. And when you start breaking that down and saying, no, you know, 20% of that goes to the VAT man, and then we have to pay for you to stand there and do the hair and the stuff that goes on the hair, the products and the like PPE and the stuff, the gowns and everything that goes around the client. Then after we've taken all of that out, we then look at the rent, the rates, the electric, the telephone, the reservation, all the other bits and pieces, and then that tiny little bit left at the end is ours.
It is ours, yeah.
And they don't get that. They just see pound signs and think, Jesus. And especially at the moment, you guys have got a situation where you've got a lot of money coming in at the minute. What your team won't be understanding is that you've just lost a third of your yearly revenue. You know, how do we get that back? they're thinking, oh God, it's Christmas on steroids. There's all this cash going in, and God, they can afford this and they can afford that. They're not thinking about, have you paid the rent for the last 3 months? Have you paid all the bills? Have you now got a loan?
And if you're like some of us, I mean, we still had to pay our rent. So I suppose a lot of you are the same. That didn't stop for us. We still had to pay that. We still had to pay the, all right, we weren't using water, but we still had to pay those bills, the electricity bills. They didn't stop. So, and they needed to understand that, I think. So, it might feel like Christmas, but we've just, like you said, we've lost 3 months.
And we've got to recoup that somehow, and pay all those bills back now. And the loan, if you've taken a loan out, you're going to have to pay that back, So when you started to increase your average bill, when you first started to notice the difference that it could make in your business, what did that do to your business when you started to see it going up?
I think for me, when we had the business before, it wasn't across the board. So for me, it was always, my average bill was really, really good, but it wasn't across the board. So for me now, with the 3 weeks that we were open, and now looking at it, knowing what it can do, this is where I can really monitor it. So I'm actually quite excited going in, because the business is new, and kind of looking at it and going, right, this is where we're going to start. And that's what we've done. We've started from it, and we're not letting it slip. So for me, we went wrong in the last business. Not everybody's bills were consistent. They would fluctuate. Some would be, sort of 30, some would come up to 60. But as a salon as a whole, they weren't good. So you'd have some high people like myself and they would be like anything from 98 to maybe 120, an average bill. And then you'd have some that were like 20. And so we had a lot of staff and some sitting around, we weren't back to back. So for me now, because I know how important it is, it gives different avenues across the salon for me, and kind of going, right, I know what our average bill I want as a salon, as individuals. Then I can kind of look and kind of go, right, I don't need any more staff for now until I know we're turning clients away and that average bill stays consistent. Then I'll start having more team members come through the door. So it's just, for me, looking at how now I want to run the business to be more successful and not going back on how it used to be.
But you've always had a very consistent average bill. So talk to me about your average bill. What does it normally sit at?
So mine normally sits at anything between about 98 to recently, and then the last 3 weeks before lockdown, it was anything between sort of 105 to 130. And
let's unpack how you do that, because you've got a bit of a system in how you upgrade your guests and upgrade your average bills. So talk me through the average kind of service in your salon and what you do to make that to £130.
So for me, it depends really on what my guest is. So whether they're new or different, I have a different strategy for different clients that come through. So if my guest is new, then I'll go through like a new thing. If she's new and she's sitting in my chair, we then go through and dive really deep into the consultation. What is it that she's coming in for? Is it that she's in for a balayage? Is she in for a tint? So I'll really look at that and to see what I can do. So in my mind, I'm already thinking, what can I do to stretch that appointment, but still keeping it in the time? So if she's in for, say, something like a tint, can I get away with putting some extra pieces in her hair? Can I do, a bit of an accent around the front? Does she need a smart bond? So that's a bit like the Olaplex, can I upgrade it? So we really go down. So I start with what are your pain points? What is it you're really struggling with your hair? So it's all in that. Then she just kind of offloads. I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with that. It could be that her hair's dry, it's frizzy, her hair never feels the same when she leaves the salon. The colour always goes yellow. Her colour fades really quickly. All of these that we always get, they're common. So then I'll be like, right, okay, I know what products I've got to give her. I know what I've got to upsell, and I know what I've got to do with her colour. So it starts when she's in that chair with me. So then I will talk about the shampoo that she needs to kind of go home with. That's not saying she has to buy it, but it's just like, right, okay, well, I would recommend this shampoo and conditioner. That's then followed when we go up to the backwash, and the assistant, I will tell them what to use. So some salons, they sit there and go, you know, use whatever they think is, you know, use a treatment, or, you know, they've had their hair coloured, so they go straight on to use a colour shampoo, or they might feel that their hair's a bit frizzy, so they'll use a frizzy shampoo. For me, I tell them what to use because I'm the one that's just had that consultation. So I know what she's struggling with, and I know what her, you know, when she goes home, that she might have greasy hair, she might have dry scalp. The assistant doesn't always know that unless they're standing next to you listening to that consultation. So they then use that shampoo that I've said in front of the client, please can you use, etc., etc. That the assistant can then talk them through what they're using, why they're using it. So the assistant's job doesn't change. They can still recommend, but you're just following it through as it goes through the salon. I you know, she could have sat in my chair and we could have done a consultation, and she could have said, right, well, my hair gets really greasy, but I've got really dry ends. She might then go and sit at the basin, and then the assistant might sit there and feel her hair and go, oh, yeah, it's a bit dry, and use a really heavy shampoo that's going to be useless for her hair. So I just think it follows, it's nicely, there's no contradiction between what I've just given a consultation to then what my assistants use at the backwash area. So it all, that sort of is a new guess from sort of sitting in the chair going through to the basin area. If it's a client that I've done and I've been doing her for a little while, or, you know, she came to me last time, I always make notes on my client, and they're not just colour notes. So it's they're quite extensive notes. So it might have been something that I've discussed with them. So I might have discussed the shampoo and conditioner. I might have discussed a keratin treatment. I might have discussed some products that they needed to take home, or upselling a smart bond next time. You know, how often do we get it where some people go, oh, I'll think about that maybe next time. So I then prompt myself. Yeah. I then prompt myself and kind of go, right, well, that's what we discussed like last time. Let's see if she wants to do that this time. So, and I might do that in the beginning of the day. I might do a printout of my day, and I'll look at all my guests that are coming through. So then I remind myself the conversations that we've had. So then when they're sitting in my chair, I can then relay, and then they kind of, oh, she remembered. Oh, she's still, it's not a whim. She's still talking about that. So it's kind of another good way for reassuring your client that you're not just trying to sell her something just because you can. It actually is going to be beneficial for her. You do believe in this. This is going to make a big impact in her life of how she does her hair. And then that also, I think, boosts up my retail quite a lot, because they're like, oh, you said that last time. Or it may even be a product that you sold to them last time. And then you remember, oh, you took XYZ home with you. How did you get on with that? And then what we do is, well, if a client doesn't get on with it, we say to them, bring it back. I don't want you having something that's sitting on your cupboard that is just going to be gathering dust. Bring it back in and we'll exchange it for something else. Yeah. So then clients feel really like rest assured that actually they're not going to be wasting their money. They're not, oh, if that product's, it's just going to sit on my shelf. How often do we hear that? Bring it back in. We'll use it at the backwash if it's a shampoo or conditioner. If it's a styling product, we'll put it on the shop floor. You know, we have loads of use for it. So, and then exchange it for something they are going to use. And then that way they build that trust up in you. Going back to, like, you know, consultations and things like that, of, you know, there are just little tricks that you can do with, as long as your clients, bit like what Mary was saying, as long as your clients know what you're doing, and that they don't get any shock when it comes to paying, that's a big thing. So when I sit there and I you know, a client, how often do we get, you know, the photos that come in, I want to be like this, and you're like, oh my God, that's going to take me forever, but I can do it. But they just think it's a really quick, easy, or it's a half head highlights price, and then you've got a full color change going on. So I very much like Mary, I sit them down and I say to them, you know, I can do that, but that's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be 2.5 hours. Are you okay with that time? I'm also, to get you that light, I'm going to have to use, we have a bonder. So those that are L'Oreal salons will understand we've got a bonder bleach now. So it's got it all in, but it's obviously more expensive. So I can get those 8 levels of lift that you want, but I will have to use the bonder. It's more expensive, but it will protect your hair. So if they know this beforehand, I know that I'm going to use the more expensive bleach. I know I've got to up her bill. She's then, aware that this is what it's going to be. And then I break it down to her. I've got to do a toner. I've got to do a bonder. I've got to do a treatment at the end. I might even do a power. Some will know this, but we have like power shots, which are like treatments and color mixed in. So I might have to use all of those to get the color that I want and that she wants. And then I explain what the price is. And some of my bills are, anything from sort of £200 to £300. So as long as they know that they're absolutely fine with it, and they know the time. But what I also do as well is I tell them that next time it won't be that. If it's a big overhaul, some clients might kind of go, God, and you might lose them for thinking, I can't afford that every time I go in, every 8 weeks. I can't afford a £300 bill. It's not going to be that every time. So as long as they know that as well, and they've got a plan that actually next time, come and see me in 6 weeks. That's another key for me of going, right, I'm not going to balayage it. How often do we see these balayages? 10, 16 weeks, come in 6 weeks. I want to tone it. I want to do a treatment. It's not going to be, an overhaul, but it'll keep that color fresh. It'll keep you going for longer. You're getting that client back in sooner. And, they're then kind of going, oh, I'm not having that big bill all the time.
Yeah.
And that's key. That is really key. So when you've got these big bills going out, don't scare your client and kind of think, let them go away thinking, geez, that was big. I'm going to have to find another salon, because you don't want that either. So as long as that you've got a plan, and just say to them, and do that in the haircut when they've come back from the basin, show them, tell them again, this color is beautiful. Let's refresh it in 6 weeks. Keep talking them through it so that it actually really does go in, that I don't have to pay this every single time.
Yeah.
And then that makes them sit a lot easier as well. All right, I know I've got a big bill. Sometimes we'll joke about it at reception and we'll go, that's 321. And then we kind of go, so nobody else can hear. But it won't be all the time, and they're like, I know. So, you can kind of make a bit of a joke about it, but just really make sure that they know that that's not going to be all the time. And then, we're going to have this big overhaul in, say, 16 weeks or whatever it may be on how you feel. In 12 weeks' time, I might just do a bit of an accent. I might just do a bit of a root smudge, whatever you kind of feel, and then break it down again in price. This is only actually going to be £120, whatever you might be charging. So again, they know that a 6-week appointment, then they know what their 12-week appointment is. They know that they're not going to be having this huge bill, but they're going to walk away with fabulous hair and what they want.
Yeah, I think that's really key, because what I tend to see stylists doing in salons is they're quite happy to do the balayage and charge the price, and then they go, well, we won't need to see you for 6 months, as a justification of the fact that they've just spent 300 quid. And what you just said there, Natasha, I think everybody on this call needs to really take note of this. Once you've done that balayage, getting them back in just to tone the hair with a cut and an overlay is bloody vital. The bun piece was invented for that reason. If you take it up look, okay, you look at that, once that's grown out a bit and it's down here, like, I don't know, where am I? I'm all back to front on this camera. Once it's down to about here in about 8 weeks, this part of my head is going to look so dark that I'm just going to be like, oh, I need to go and have it redone. That's what the money piece was invented for. That's why it's called the money piece, because it brings the money back into the salon. It means we're taking control of the balayage. So pretty much most of our balayage that goes out has that money piece, because we know we can get the money piece. But toning it again and getting them in for an Olaplex or a treatment because they've had all that lightener on there is just key to bringing that bill up and getting them back in. We've got someone on the, I don't know who you are, I'm really sorry. When you're watching these lives, just before you click onto it, a little link at the top that you can click on that allows StreamYard to show me your name, and then it will tell me who you are. So that's what I do with my balayage. They have that 4 times year in between is colour melt. Nice. I make more profit on colour melt, and also like it as they don't have time to be sitting for 4 hours. Exactly. You know, people aren't, some people definitely have the money, but they don't have the time. You know, we are a time poor nation, so definitely getting that colour melt in there is amazing. Oh, it's Tracy. Hi, Tracy Mac. So how do you incorporate training your team around getting their average bill up? Have you got structure in place inside your business, or is it just something that you talk about a lot? How do you make sure that you're bringing them up with you?
Well, training is key. You have to, we do printouts every week so people can see that average bill. So it kind of keeps a little bit of that competition going in the salon. Oh, you beat me, or you done this. So making them aware of what their average bill is key. But for us, it is about education. You have to, people don't know how to do consultations, and really dive deep. So, for them, they might just do a basic consultation and go, yeah, hi, what we doing today? Yeah, great, no problem. Great, yeah, I'll do the trim, I'll do that, I'll do the half head highlights, come over, and it's, no, you could have done so much more. So you have to educate the team on consultations and thorough consultations, and looking at how they can improve that bill, because having a client in your chair, that's where the money is. So make the most of that client sitting in your chair. That they don't know what's on offer. So if we don't educate our team to educate the client, how do they know what's going to be on offer? So guys, do you know these treatments? Do you know that you can do a smart bond? Do you know that there's now a bonder in the solution? It's a lot more, in the bleach, it's a lot more expensive. We had a bit of a thing a couple of weeks ago when we just, obviously like everyone, when we opened, and we all were kind of like, hold on a second, we're using a lot more color. And this was even myself, the roots are a lot bigger, and we added a little bit extra on the price after lockdown, and to cover PPE and stuff. But actually a tint wasn't a tint anymore. We've got all this extra growth when you're taking it through the ends, and a toner is a lot more. You might be using a tube for a toner, or a tube and a half. You might be doing 2 toners where you're at the front you're one tone, and then the back you're slightly different, because everything is changed at the moment. So we kind of went back, myself and my other colorist, and kind of going, actually we need to be charging for this. So over the last 2 weeks, we've seen another increase in our bills of just kind of going, actually, we've got to add an extra 10, 15 pounds on for this or that. And that's made a big difference. And actually explaining to the client, I've got to mix up another tube of color. I've done one half of your hair, I've now got to use another one. And then kind of going, oh my God, there's got so much root, haven't I? And I was like, yeah, but this is why I've got to add on extra to it. And everybody absolutely understands this is the time we can get away with adding that extra. I've not had one person say to me, it's absolutely fine. And I mean, I've even had clients say to me, take extra. You've been closed for 3 months, take extra. So this is the time for us to kind of go, thank you, I'm going to add, you're not doing them out of a service, you're using the color. So charge for it. It's costing you So yeah, you've got to charge for it. So going back to the question, you've got to educate your team, you know, and Dion and I sort of said, right, Dion, you've got to add the extra on. And she was like, yeah, okay, I was thinking about it the other day, but I didn't know whether to or not. You know, so yeah, you've got to talk amongst yourselves and really sort of, but that's only come really through my team knowing what the average bill is and looking at their average bill and then being aware of it and then wanting to boost it and bring it up. So yeah, you have to educate your team in it and understanding why and the importance.
I totally agree. And I'm going to pull back to something you said earlier, in line with the whole educating your team. One of the educations that we're going to be running in the salon is notes. Educating the team on taking notes, because I've got some team members that are just, and I'm typing all the notes up at the moment, so I'm really noticing it. I've got some team members that are just so like 10 grams of this, 15 grams of that. Like the notes are so extensive that anybody could pick it up and do it. But then it's all about the conversation that's happened, the products that have been used.
That's key. That is key.
So good. And then there's other notes that I'm typing up that are just so, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's no notes there. It's like literally bare minimum.
Yeah, I use gold.
Yeah.
That's it.
And looking at the average bills, it's the note takers, the extensive note takers that have got the highest average bills compared to the ones that don't put the effort in. Because they're not, and I download my team every morning. So we have a power up and then we have a power down at the end of the day. So the power up is like, right, this is who you've got in for today. This one's birthday. There's chocolate and a card on the side for her. This one took home lavender and mint last time. Can you please ask her how she's getting along with it? You know, I'm bam, 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 bam with my team every single morning. They know what they need to do and they can just go do it. So the notes help me help them. If there's no notes, I can't rev them up for the day to make them have the best day that they could possibly have. So, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be focusing on inside of my salon, is coaching them how to take or how to write really great notes.
Do yours have a book? Because we have our own individual, just like a notepad. So with our trolleys, we've got our own notepads, so they can add it as they go. Because I don't know, like anybody, we didn't used to do that. It used to be at the end of the day, everyone write your notes in. And it's really, sometimes at the end of the day, you're kind of like, oh, to just go and write your notes in. And so if you do it as you go, have that. If it's either by your dispensary or on your trolley, do it as you go. It's so much easier. And then that way you're not forgetting, or you're not kind of going, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and then those notes don't go in. So do it as you go. Write it in a pad. I normally then give it to my reservationist, Abby, and then she'll just add it, you know, she'll just write it all up. It's a lot easier. And I find a lot of the staff do it better that way than doing it all at the end of the day.
We print receipts off for every single client in the morning. So there's a whole list of your day on a receipt, and then there's an individual note receipt for every client, and you write on the back. The reason why I don't do it in a notebook, I'm going to share something with you now. I had a team member that was writing it up in a notebook, and it all stayed in the notebook, and then she left and took the notebook and contacted all my clients, and there's a massive GDPR issue with that. So at the end of the day, if you're writing it on a notepad, rip it out, chuck it away, rip it up, so that it's not left in there. So for you guys at home, if you're going to be doing notepads, it's cool. It's a great idea because it's done, ripped, typed up, sorted. It needs to be disposed of. Otherwise, you have a whole notepad full of client information for somebody to just take, like they did in my family. Luckily, GDPR wasn't a thing when that happened. Otherwise, don't do that. Like literally, we give it to Abby, and like you say, it's gone, it's done. Because then that way she knows exactly what she's put in the system as well. Yeah, absolutely. And for me, just looking at that and getting to know the team in a different way as well, because I'm actually understanding how my team work on a really different level, because I would never have touched the notes beforehand. You know, my reservationist would be putting it into the system. It would never have crossed my path. I wouldn't know that they needed that training, but I know now, and it's exciting. Like all these new little bits that I'm learning about everybody. I'm really enjoying it. Okay, so I'm cautious of time. We're going to wrap this up. I don't want to take up too much of your Friday evening when you're
no, that's all right. The only other thing that I would probably say, which is key as well, is rebooking. Like that's a good thing for your average bill. Make your clients aware that when they leave the salon, you know, get them booked in for something, whether it is like a freshen up, but you know, create a demand. You know, it's fab at the moment. We can create that demand. Everybody's in, you know, my line is everybody's in the same cycle as you right now. So I am getting busy for 6 weeks. I'm getting busy for 8 weeks. You like a Saturday, book it, you know, and I'm getting, you know, clients are like 2 appointments. So that also boosts it up. And then that way you can keep an eye on your columns in the future, that you can tweak things. And you know, I'm very good at kind of looking at my column. Your stylists have to kind of take a little bit of ownership of their columns and kind of making the best of a situation. I don't need that much time. I don't, you know, it's going to get a lot easier now. So that's another thing that they really must do.
Absolutely key. We're rebooked right through till February now.
Yeah.
I am making everybody rebook right through till February, because January is normally our quieter month. I can see exactly in the second period of November where I'm going to dip, so I know that I can start working on that now. I can see patterns emerging where we're slightly slowing down and where we're speeding up, so I can deal with that now. It's absolutely crucial to the survival of your business.
Yeah.
If your average bill is up and your rebooking is up in line with it, that means your frequency of visit comes down, which those 3 things working simultaneously together is a very powerful business. So what was your top key tip, number 1, for getting your average bill up, that these guys can go away tomorrow and start working on?
I think my biggest tip would be, in your consultation, try and upsell to something, whether that be a treatment or an Olaplex. What is it that you have in your salon that you can kind of go, right, I'm going to do that today. At least one of my guests are going to walk out of here with a Smart Bond or an Olaplex treatment, or, you know, something at the basin, whether it be a hot towel, 15-minute. Just try and do it that at least one of your guests, and then the next day do it another, like 2 of my guests are going to do that. So just try and upsell every person. I try and do it at the beginning of my day. I kind of put an average in my brain of how much extra I want to earn. So I'll see the total of what it is, and then I'll put in my brain the extra. Do that and work out how you can do that. And then, you know, you can tweak it as the day goes on.
Very, very good tip. Thank you very, very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for sharing the insides of your brain with us today.
My pleasure. I hope it helped.
It has indeed. You have had 4 sessions now on how to get your average bill up. If you have not already started working on your average bill, I suggest the moment you walk through those doors tomorrow and make it early, you start putting a plan in place, because as I just said, this is crucial for the survival of your business, for the survival of your salon, and for the survival of your team moving forward out of lockdown. And it should be something that we do just automatically in our businesses anyway. So if you haven't figured out what your average bill is, please go and check it out tomorrow. Set a figure in your head, decide where you're going to go with it, and at least upsell to 1 client tomorrow. We're all busy tomorrow. We're all fully booked. So let's make it a bloody awesome day for the Successful Salon Team Training Room, and let's go smash our average bills through the roof. Guys, girls, thank you so much for your time. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you to you as well. You know, I hope you've enjoyed what we've spoken about today. There's been some amazing nuggets in there from Natasha. Natasha, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I will see you all on Monday. You take
Have a lovely weekend.
See you soon. Enjoy tomorrow, guys. Bye.
Bye.